morning and welcome to day 2 of Intuit's end of financial year mini-series. Following on from yesterday's industry panel discussion, today we will hear from two of our app partners, DraftWorks and PaySpace, as they take us through their solutions and provide key tips to set you up for success this year end. The app ecosystem is extremely important to Intuit QuickBooks as it provides a comprehensive range of solutions for our pro advisors and their clients. So make sure that you take a look at the recently launched apps tab within QuickBooks Online Accountant as more apps are being released continuously. Now, I will be revealing the code words for today at the end of the session. So make sure you collect them to complete the sentence and be in the running to win an Apple MacBook Air. See you at the end.
Welcome to the QuickBooks End of Financial Year 2022 mini-series. My name is Earl Stan and today I'm going to be speaking about DraftWorks. What is DraftWorks? Well, DraftWorks is a tool available both in the cloud and on desktop or even in hybrid that allows you to automate the drafting of your financial statements and of course the assurance of your engagements with our working papers. How does it work? Well, very simply. We can log into our cloud service, create an entity. Let's go and let's call this QuickBooks 2022. Select our framework, and cloud is a little bit different. Cloud is priced per engagement, so you only pay for what you use. There's no license fees, no monthly recurring fees, a once-off year fee for the entity that I'm about to create. So let's go and let's create something Effortless SME, so PTY Ltd, and then working papers I'm going to select to do a compilation. I'll be billed for that and I can create my client. I don't pay anything else on this entity. We now work through the 4 or 5 major steps in creating my first set of financial statements, and that's going to be my client setup, capturing my TB, linking my accounts, viewing my financial statements, and if applicable, doing an XBRL submission. So let's start at the first one. Client setup is going to be just the data that is going through for my company from my client setup. So all the major items such as the company registration number, the address details, that's just a once-off capture. We're capturing it this year. Next year, all of this information is going to roll forward into the next year. And we've got a lot of cool options in the client setup. Setting up your directors' names, your shareholders, the holding, going and selecting the number of years to present. Again, we're talking about automating your financial statements. So we can change between 2 or 1 or 3 or 4 or 5 years to present. The typical is going to be 1 if it's a brand new entity like this is, or 2 years if I want a comparative. We can adjust the year-end dates and even go into more detail, such as changing the SOCI being presented between function and nature, or the cash flow between direct or indirect, and so much more. Okay. Once my client setup is done, we can now jump on to the next item, which is going to be my working trial balance. Now this is where the clever stuff happens. We now need to draft a set of financial statements, so we need to access and import a set of TBs from our client. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, the fantastic little tool that we include within DraftWorks called Sync allows us to go and integrate with QuickBooks, okay, both cloud and desktop. So QBO or QuickBooks Desktop, and that's accessible simply through the import trial balance from Sync. And we would have previously gone and connected this company through to Sync and through to QBO, and that goes and that pulls in all of the entity details through to me. And a wonderful thing about Sync is not only does it just allow me to go and pull in data, it also allows me to push back data. So those journals that you raise here, you can push back to QuickBooks, okay, which is fantastic. It eliminates all of those opening balance issues that we see when we split out the engagement from the accounting system to a separate system such as DraftWorks to do your financial statements. Another awesome thing that we do with QuickBooks is DraftWorks will import the TB and will automatically link and categorize it. Okay, so that's a fantastic thing. It takes all of the work out of the entity. Okay, once that is linked, we can then jump in and we can open up my financial statements, and this is going to take all of the information from my client setup, from my working trial balance, and it's going to automate the creation of my financial statements. Okay, looks like Excel, not exactly Excel, but if you know Excel, it's going to make life so much easier. And this is basically our reporting engine. So we start off and we look at the first sheet that we get, and that's going to be status. Tells me everything that's right or wrong in my financial statements. Okay, retained income is in balance, happiness. We can reconcile anything else that comes out. Okay, all that information through from my cover. If I've made a typo, I can go back to my client setup. I can correct it. Go back to my financials. Let's go and call this PTY Ltd. And we can just say that is QuickBooks PTY Ltd. Okay. Jump through back to my financials, refresh, and it's going to pull all of the information through, and of course reconstruct my financials. So even if there's a working trial balance change, you've gone and you've raised a journal QuickBooks, you can re-import, it'll update the figures, open up your financial statement, and we'll recalculate. Okay. We simply move through the financials now, enable anything that's applicable, or disable anything, or switch off anything that's not applicable. So if we're just doing a compilation, we wouldn't need our audit, our review, accounting officer, or psycho report, and we would be left with our main items within our financials. And here's where we hit the customization part. Okay, select if there's anything that you need to disclose in your financials. So we've done all the heavy lifting for you. When we get through to the notes, you see we've auto opened up all the notes. We've auto opened up the accounting policies. You just need to change if there's anything specific that you have to disclose with regards to this entity that we're doing. Okay, super easy. And if there's something that you don't want to disclose, such as my shareholder, I can just switch that off. Okay, let's move through. There's my report compilation. I'm going to put a letterhead on that very soon, as we print preview. We then go to my balance sheet and we selected 1 year. It was the first year for this entity. And we can see all of the figures are pulling through. So anything highlighted in blue means it's not applicable or it doesn't have a value, and thus isn't going to print. So I can quickly gauge exactly what is valid. Okay. Now we see that there's a note number reference to. That's what I said earlier. Anything with a value that we need to disclose is going to auto open. We just have to do the off TB stuff. Okay. And all of these would be classified correctly. We can even change a classification if we want. If there's something that should be non-current instead of current assets, we can go and we can change that. Okay? So that's a fantastic thing. So we just work through our financials. Double check if there's any inputs required, and that's generally denoted by the blue cells. And we can go and we can recon our fixed assets. There's 70,000 that we have to add as an addition, and DraftWorks will guide you through the entire process, and it will tell you if you're out by anything and where you're out by. Okay, and we simply move. So there's not a lot of things that we have to reconcile. It's generally just the PP&E and a tax. The other few little things, again, going back to the off TB items, we'll just have to go and input in things like what the authorized share capital is, because that doesn't exist anywhere in my TB. That's going to be something from our company's house. Okay, so we go and we input and we move through. As soon as I reach a stage where I go, you know what, I'm happy with what everything looks like, let's go and let's preview the financials. And we hit preview, and DraftWorks will go through and it will put everything together. So we're going to automatically go and change your financial statements from that Excel-ish layout, that reporting engine, into your PDF financial statement. So we've put everything together for you. We go and we automatically do the justification of text, the indexing, the layouts, and this is where I hit my director's report that we switched on and switched off items. We have my report of a compiler. I said earlier, we're going to pop my letterhead in. So you can build in your letterhead, and you can go and you can now switch in my letterhead. You can also switch on your logos or your clients' logos and place it everywhere within your file, and at the end of the day, you get a lovely end result from your financial statements, as quick and easy as that. Simple, once-off price, all integrated within QuickBooks, the forward and the back. And the awesome thing is, this is available on desktop and on cloud. Desktop, set license fee, unlimited entities. Cloud is going to be web browser based, and it's going to be pay as you use. Okay. And of course, our famous DraftWorks support is available in both. So if you need help, you'll be put through to a former accountant and auditor who know the product extremely well, so they know their debits and credits. They'll be able to assist you with any issue that you raise. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Log into draftworks.com. You can go and you can sign up for an account, and you can get started, and you can start to integrate into QuickBooks. Okay, simple, easy. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. If you need anything, please feel free to jump onto draftworks.com and simply go to contact us. You can even book a free demo, and we'll take you through DraftWorks in detail. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome. My name is Tammy, and along with me today I have Scott. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Tammy.
So we'll be taking a look today about what makes PaySpace so special, and how we can help you simplify your payroll for yourself and, of course, your customers as well. Hopefully, we can also simplify your tax season coming up this year. So let's take a look about what makes PaySpace so special. Scott, can you tell us a little bit more about our value proposition and exactly why we are so unique in the market?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tammy. So just starting and just going through a few brief highlights from a PaySpace perspective, it's important to note that you as a QuickBooks partner understand what you would be exposed to from a technology perspective. PaySpace is 100% cloud-based payroll and HR software. PaySpace is a proud technology company with only a focus on payroll and HR, and we've been developing solutions for the African market for close to 20 years. In line with being a cloud-based offering, it's very important to note that our most pivotal consideration in terms of data security and the confidential nature of the data we deal with is that PaySpace is POPI compliant in the South African context and ISO 27001 certified. We are the only payroll and HR software vendor on the African continent with this certification in place, and that has also been in place for over 6 years. What's also important to note is, and we'll touch on, the distribution in terms of where PaySpace operates, but PaySpace offers multi-country, multi-currency, and multi-language capability. Within the product, we also have very niche expatriate payroll functions. And one of the key features out of today's session is really talking around automated legislative and feature updates, which Tammy will shortly touch on. But what's important to note there, that you as a user will always be on the correct version of any tax table and social security in any market within which you operate. And from a product perspective, you'll always be on the latest version of PaySpace. There will never be a requirement for you as a user to update your product in any way. PaySpace also offers seamless payroll, employee and manager self-service functions to enhance your employee and manager experiences within the business. And we'll touch on that as well. And then just important to note that PaySpace is feature rich in terms of payroll and HR functions, but we also offer more advanced HR functionality, where we cover things such as performance management, recruitment, org charting, workforce planning, and a whole stack of business intelligence capabilities. In terms of workflows and guidance, PaySpace does align to business requirements in terms of workflow capability. So we can set up workflows within the solution to ensure that your approval processes are met. From a PaySpace perspective, it's also important to note that being a cloud-based application and product is that it does give you the access anywhere, anytime, off any device. That is obviously very important in the modern world. And in line with that, it's also important to note that PaySpace has API integration capabilities. So the ability to speak to any third-party solution, such as QuickBooks, to integrate important payroll and HR data between systems. Then lastly, from a commercial perspective, PaySpace is pay-as-you-go. So it's very much a consumption-based model. There are no annual license fees. In most cases, we don't charge per user as well. And being cloud-based, there's a significant saving in that there would be no requirement for infrastructure. Then briefly, from a footprint perspective, it's important to note that PaySpace currently covers 44 countries globally, which we will be expanding on going into the future. But we have the largest footprint in terms of payroll and HR capabilities. So if there is a need to service clients cross-border, that is entirely available to you. And these countries are all fully legislatively driven, meaning that anything you get in your home country, you will get in any other country. So all your tax and social security needs would be met in terms of payroll compliance. Then briefly, just in terms of our business in numbers, we currently service in excess of 9,000 customers. Those range in size from small SMEs right up to large listed enterprises across multiple industries as indicated. What's important to note that the solution is very scalable to meet any type of business need. The product is mature and capable to meet African payroll requirements and hopefully global payroll requirements going into the 21st century.
Thank you, Scott. I think with that insight, it is quite evident that I think PaySpace is one of the fastest growing payroll and HR solutions in Africa, and it seems globally as well. So I say that with confidence that we would definitely be able to cater for your needs, your customers' needs, making sure that you can run your business as effectively and efficiently as possible and not have to worry about keeping up to date with tax legislations, making sure that your product is up to date. And with that consumption model, it really makes it simple for you to grow your business at your pace, and we would grow then with you. So as Scott mentioned, we have a few topics to touch on today, and some of them we're going to go through right now. So that being compliance, making sure that you've always got payroll and HR at your fingertips. And then, of course, the most important, you have to work smarter and not harder, especially this year coming. So let's take a look at some of those topics. And Scott, I'm going to help you or ask you to help me cover some of these topics again, and we'll take everyone through that.
Fantastic. So from a compliance perspective, it's important, as mentioned, that PaySpace is up to date in terms of legislation. We have a large internal, obviously a very experienced internal team dealing with compliance. And we take a very proactive approach to compliance. So not only dedicated internal resources, but relationships across Africa with multiple stakeholders to ensure that we get multiple sources of opinion in terms of compliance. It's important to note that that legislation changes rapidly. You need to be adaptable to those changes, and we've certainly seen that in the last 2 years, that there's been significant relief offered by tax authorities, and PaySpace has been available and seamlessly changed the solution to meet these ever-changing legislative requirements. So in your context, wherever you're operating, it's important to note that you'll always be compliant, and PaySpace will ensure that you never miss any important update in terms of compliance. Also note that PaySpace offers all legislative reports in each of these countries in the required formats. Where there is the ability to integrate or speak to authorities online, we have that capability. And if there are manual submissions, we will still populate the reports in the required formats for you to do these submissions. And that touches on the compliance aspects. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Scott. And then looking at that and how we still assist your business in making sure that you have what you need to be the best in your industry and focus on that, we would look at these topics as well.
So in terms of always being accessible, PaySpace really from the outset has been driven by an obsession with technology and giving our users the capability to use the best technology in the market. So what we're really talking about here is when we founded this product and developed this product, it was to make your data accessible and meaningful at all times. There's no need to revert to backups. When you need to resort to historical transactions or reports, they would be available to you at a click of a button. And being a cloud architected product, we give that capability to our users. So within the solution, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can access the solution from your home, from a beach, from your office, off any device. And I think importantly, within the stack of products, we would have that history available to you as well. So instant access to any historical record available to administrators as well as self-service users. From a security and maintenance perspective, we've touched on elements related to that, but I think it's important to note that backups are taking place in real time. All of your data is encrypted, and we apply world-class data protection standards to make sure that your data is available and backed up. Thanks, Tammy.
Thanks, Scott. I think doing payroll on the beach is definitely not on my bucket list, but I know with business owners, you need to take your business wherever you go. Shall we have a look at some of the dashboards, Scott?
Absolutely. So what's important to note from a technology perspective, and speaking to that theme around ease of use and really giving our clients insight into their data, is that a lot of attention's been paid to making sure that the product is user-friendly. The user interface and the user experience are high priorities to us as a software development company. So this is just a quick snapshot of a test company within our environment, just giving some insight into active employees within this business, how many people have been paid, has there been any changes during the month? So really giving you a quick snapshot of anything that looks unusual. You'll see some HR functionality around employee movement. And this is just one screen of many where you would be able to gather these types of insights. So very much a focus on intuitive dashboards, reports, and functions within the product. This particular dashboard is just really just highlighting an employee biographical image, related to Anna's details. So we can see where Anna sits within this company, so who she reports to, her peers within the business, and down the left-hand side, we'll see some of the detail relating to, updating basic information, payroll processing, updating leave, perhaps doing a performance appraisal, interacting with training records, and a whole host of other functions that would be available. But again, a nice, neat, user-friendly interface for your administrators and self-service users to gain access to PaySpace.
I think it's quite valuable that, especially in today's remote working environment, that you stay in tune with your employees. So I think maybe we should have a look at that as well, Scott.
Absolutely. So, from a payroll and HR function, it's really giving access to data. So historically, it would be to administrators and perhaps senior management. That would never go away. And perhaps actually exposing, this data to a broader variety of stakeholders within your business. And that's very important. People data is really moving organizations forward. And from an employee perspective, I think it's also very important to note that they want access to their data. They want to be able to access historical transactions. And to me personally, I like doing self-service on the beach and accessing my pay slips and applying for leave on the beach. So really giving them that capability to view their employee profiles online. And just on some of these themes around effortless payroll, empowering of employees, and easy integrations, it's just really talking to saving you time and effort in your payroll and HR functions.
Definitely, Scott. And I think we've made it possible for a lot of these smarter tools within the payroll system. I think the first that comes to mind is, of course, my favorite feature within PaySpace, which is our bulk actions.
Absolutely. So just from a bulk action perspective, this is again just in line with the theme around saving time, is, PaySpace does offer the ability to capture input one by one, loading an employee, terminating an employee, or perhaps updating a payroll line. But we know that that's not the case in, certainly in larger volumed environments. So you would need this ability to, process data in bulk. And this particular screen that Tammy's alluded to really just highlights, us looking at basic pay. So we're looking at employees and updating pay slips for January 2022. And on this particular screen, we can do bulk actions on screen. So perhaps change basic pay if it's increased time on screen by value, or we could use templates driven out of the solution, already populated templates or blank templates to perhaps make those actionable, steps. So doing those increases either manually or via a percentage, and then bulk uploading this information. So there are multiple ways of inputting data. This is just one of those, and this would save you a lot of time and effort.
Still my favorite feature. I think it makes it so much easier to quickly on screen make changes, and of course driving those templates as well. So shall we look at your beach app that you use, Scott, your ESS, and why you love using that so much?
Absolutely. So again, as indicated on screen, is that you'd have this capability on any device, anytime, anywhere. We'll finish the presentation with an exciting piece of news coming out of PaySpace, which really enhances the self-service capability. But just things, at a broad level, historically self-service functions would cater for payroll and leave. So accessing pay slips, maybe applying for leave, viewing leave transactions or calendars, also accessing your RP5s or tax certificates across the continent on an individual level. But it also goes deeper than that. There may be the need to upload employment contracts, perhaps notify users of special events coming up within the organization. So really an interactive tool to engage with your workforce and, really enhance their experience within your organization.
I think that's such a powerful tool to have, is to give that a credibility and accountability back to the employees. It really makes such a difference. And then, of course, bulk actions is definitely a fantastic a feature within the system, but there's certain things that you just don't want to do with an Excel template, Scott. So for example, I don't want to export my journal every single time that I need to update that. So we can perhaps look at that seamless integration as well.
Absolutely, and this is really one of the areas where we've engaged with QuickBooks to make their partners' lives a little bit easier. So not only would you be getting all the functions and features out of PaySpace, but there would be a seamless integration into QuickBooks Online. So we've developed this bi-directional integration into that product, speaking to push in employee data into your financial tools. And we have a short little overview of, how that would be done. But on this particular screen, it's really selecting, a report and a general ledger option, selecting the QuickBooks format, and then engaging with the solution to push that relevant data seamlessly.
So I might not have told you this, Scott, but I've actually asked Warren to quickly help us out with that peek show of how this integration works. So I'm going to hand over to him quickly, that he just has a short overview of exactly how this integration works and how simple it is to set this up within your PaySpace solution. See if we can get him to join.
Hello everyone, my name is Warren and I'm from PaySpace. And today I'll be taking you through an online demonstration of the PaySpace integration to QuickBooks Online. I would like to start by pointing out that PaySpace has designed the integration to cater for the 4 dimensions that exist within QuickBooks Online. And those would namely be the account, the name, the location, and the class dimension. The way that a user would configure these in PaySpace is by assigning or mapping a GL account number to every single earning and deduction that they wish to post across to QuickBooks Online. So they would structure a string in terms of the following manner. The string would be delimited by a pipe character, and in between the pipe characters there would be the values of the actual QuickBooks Online configuration or setup. So in this case, I'm posting the basic pay towards the B1 account, the A100 name, the P1 location, and the T1 class structure. If a customer does not have such a complex requirement, they can leave out the various dimensions that do not appear in QuickBooks Online. Once they flip across to PaySpace, the experience in PaySpace is very simple. The user would click on the reports menu, navigate down to the general ledger menu option, and they would then select the QuickBooks Online option within the drop-down list. It's at this stage they'll be prompted to connect to the QuickBooks Online application, and they'll be prompted to either authenticate if they have not done so already, and then once they've been authenticated, they'll be able to select the company that they wish to post towards. You'll see that I logged in earlier, so I was not prompted to authenticate. Once the user selects the company, they'll be redirected back to PaySpace, and then PaySpace will be in a position to know which company to post the journal towards. So the user would come back in and they would select the relevant payroll period that they wish to post to QuickBooks Online. And lastly, they'll select the actual grouping of entries that they wish to post across. And that'll namely be the GL number and the payroll component if I want to have that type of detailed information within online. Once they select that and click submit, a batch job will be kicked off in the background where the PaySpace application will validate all of the dimensions within QuickBooks Online. So if there's a dimension that the user captured that does not exist within QuickBooks Online, the user will be shown an error and they'll be required to correct that before they are allowed to post across. So there are checks and balances within PaySpace to ensure that there's no erroneous data that is posted across to QuickBooks Online. Once the journal is posted, the user will be notified that it's successfully completed. in which case they'll then flip across to QuickBooks and they will navigate to the journal screen, where they'll be able to actually call up the particular batch job and view the details of that particular batch. So in this case, if I look over here, this top entry would be the one that's just posted across. And as you can see over here, here are the detail of every single earning and deduction, because that is the grouping option that I chose on the parameter screen. And you can see over here, that is the setup on the self and allowance where I did not specify a location and class. So this gives you a very good idea of how PaySpace actually integrates seamlessly to QuickBooks Online with very little user intervention and no manual intervention whatsoever. I hope that you've enjoyed the demo. Thank you.
Oh, that just gives a quick overview, and I see my trigger finger is happy today. So thank you so much, Warren, for that. And thank you, Scott, for taking us through all those features that we have. And of course, as you've already mentioned, we have this hot new topic and hot off the press that we've launched, or we're going to launch this year. So keep your eyes posted on that. But we have Pacey, the newest member of PaySpace, joining us in full force this year. So you might have recognized Pacey from our website as our chatbot from there. And Pacey now also has a second home, which is WhatsApp. So employees can simply prompt Pacey to enable them to view their pay slips either on screen or download their PDFs. They've got secure options on how to do that and download that, and also verify that they are in fact that user prompting for that specific information piece. They would be able to apply for leave and of course view any inbox items from their ESS platform. So if your manager is on your case to complete your performance review, or even the HR that has sent you a notification, you would be able to view that from your smartphone and simply chat to Pacey to view that information. So we're quite excited that that Pacey is making a little bit more of a stance this year. Scott, thank you so much for joining me today and joining our viewers as well for this event. I really appreciate your insights, and as always, lovely to work with you.
Thank you, Tammy, and likewise, and really appreciate everybody in attendance today, giving up your time, and we look forward to engaging with you in the near future. Thank you.
Congratulations to today's winners of the 500 Rand e-vouchers, and a quick reminder to collect the code words each day throughout the series for your chance to win the Apple MacBook Air on day 9. I'd like to thank PaySpace and DraftWorks for presenting today. So many takeaways, but a couple of key ones for myself is DraftWorks sync feature. I think that's a real winner with its ability to both pull and push data from QuickBooks. If you're not using PaySpace's bulk action feature for your larger clients, then look, take the time to learn more about that. And I think that'll save you hours in data entry. And finally, I suppose, if you're looking to drive efficiency in your practice this year, contact both of these partners, because they seamlessly integrate with QuickBooks, and that's going to drive significant amounts of improvement in your business. So today's code word for day 2 is for success. Just a reminder, it's for success. So make sure you write it down and in your workbook, and then put that sentence together at the end of the week. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for day 3, when we'll hear from Lauren Deploy and Nadine Augustine on hot QuickBooks tips and tricks featuring cash flow planner, inventory, and reporting features. Thank you.